Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today I will go ahead and go over Juz 15, Surah Al-Kahf, Ayaat 67 and 68. And what I'll do first is I'll go ahead and read the Ayaat Arabi, and then I'll read the translation, and quickly I'll go over the story of Musa and Khidr, and then most importantly, the lessons we can learn from this. So InshaAllah, we'll go ahead and start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا صدق الله العظيم. He said, you certainly cannot be patient enough with me, and how can you be patient with what is beyond your realm of knowledge? So, this conversation between Musa and Khidr, which is highlighted in these two ayat, is actually part of a story between Musa and Khidr, where patience and tawakkul in Allah is very important. So, Musa first hears of Al-Khidr when his people ask him who is the most knowledgeable on this land. And Musa says, I am, because I am the Prophet of Allah. And Allah reveals to him that there is a man more knowledgeable than him. And so Musa a.s., he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where is this man? I want to find him. And Allah leads him, he leads Musa to this man, and eventually finds him. And Musa a.s., he speaks to Al-Khidr and he says, can I set out on a journey with you so I can learn from you and I can learn from what Allah has not taught me? And Al-Khidr, his first reaction is he says, no, you won't be able to have patience with me on what I'm doing, and you won't be able to understand what I'm doing. And Musa, he assures him, and he says, no, I will have patience, and I'll try my best, and let's go on this journey together. And so they set out on this journey, and they come across a boat. And Al-Khidr, he puts a hole in this boat, and Musa a.s., he asks him, he says, why did you put a hole in this boat? And Al-Khidr, he tells him, did I not tell you not to question what I'm doing and to have patience, right? And Musa, he assures him, he apologizes and he assures him, okay, I will have patience with you, let's continue on our journey. And they do continue, and they meet a boy. And Al-Khidr, he kills this boy. And Musa a.s., again, he becomes impatient and he asks Al-Khidr, why did you kill this boy? You've done a terrible thing. And Al-Khidr, he replies with the same response. He says, did I not tell you, you won't have patience with me on this journey? And Musa, he apologized and he said, this is the last time I'll do this. If I ever question you again, that will be the end of our journey. I'll leave you be. And they set out to their third location, and they get to a town. And the people in the town, they refuse to feed Al-Khidr and Musa a.s. And Al-Khidr, he decides to go ahead and fix a wall. There's a broken wall, and Al-Khidr, he fixes it. And Musa asks him, he says, if you're fixing this wall for them, then why don't you ask for compensation? Why don't you ask for food in return for fixing the wall? And Al-Khidr, he says, okay, this is the end of our journey. Let me explain to you what you were impatient about. And so he explains to him the situation with the ship. The ship belonged to poor people, and the king that ruled those waters, he would take boats by force. But since Al-Khidr put a hole in the boat, the king wouldn't take it. So the poor people will at least be able to keep their ship. And then as for the boy, his parents were believers, and they feared he should oppress them by rebellion and disbelief. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he told Al-Khidr, he said, this boy, he will be rebellious to his parents in the future. Go ahead and kill this boy. And so Al-Khidr, following Allah's commands, he killed the boy. And then for the last situation with the wall, Al-Khidr, he fixed this wall because this wall belonged to righteous people and two orphans actually, and they had treasure inside this wall. And by fixing this wall, Al-Khidr is helping the two boys keep their treasure for when they get older. So after explaining this, Al-Khidr says this is the interpretation of those things over which you cannot hold patience of, right? And Musa a.s., he learns an important lesson from the story, which we all need to learn too, and we can take it from the story, which is tawakkul in Allah and patience. So attitude and perspective when it comes to these situations is obviously very important, right? So if you're in the position of Al-Khidr and you had the knowledge that he had, then obviously you understand that, okay, killing this boy is not a bad thing because Allah told me to kill this boy. Or fixing this wall and not asking for anything in return is a good thing because that way I'm helping these two children, these two righteous children. Or putting a hole in this boat actually help those people keep their boat from the king, right? So attitude and perspective are very important. So you have to keep in mind as you're going about your daily life that you do not have a comprehensive perspective of everything in life. So only Allah has that perspective, right? And Allah has not bestowed upon us the knowledge to know everything, right? So we have to understand and have tawakkul and have patience and trust in Allah that He has a plan for us, and inshallah it will end with khair. So even if you're in a situation where something bad is happening and you're very stressed out and it seems like a lot of negative is going on, right? You have to understand that there is a perspective that only Allah sees, and there could actually be khair for you in this situation. So you say alhamdulillah, right? And another important thing that we have to remember is Allah only puts us in situations that we can handle. So we cannot come to everything with a negative perspective, thinking there is no khair in it for us, there's no good in it for us, you know? So if you're able to understand that Allah, number one, will only put you in situations that you can handle, and number two, Allah is the best of planners. He has a plan for you which will end in khair, in goodness for you. And if you can understand those two things, then you can say alhamdulillah, and you can have a positive perspective on everything in life. And that is the most important thing for us in this dunya, right? Because the only thing we can control in this dunya is our response to the things that is given to us, the situations that we're put in. So if you're put in a negative situation, the only thing you can control is your response to that situation. So for example, if you have a very hard test coming up, instead of complaining and having very negative thoughts, you can instead say, okay, this is a very hard test. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to study for it, and I'm going to have tawakkul on Allah and trust in Allah and make dua that I pass this test, right? So the idea is that you have a positive perspective, you keep your trust in Allah, and you remember that Allah puts you in situations that you can handle. So patience and tawakkul will become easier that way. And inshallah, guys, that is the lessons we can learn from the story of Al-Khidr and Musa alayhi salam. So inshallah, the message was clear. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.